Blueberries have earned their reputation as one of the most celebrated superfoods on the planet, but most people walk right past the most interesting detail without noticing it. That deep, saturated blue coating every berry is not decoration, and it is not there for us. It is a natural pigment engineered by evolution into the skin of the fruit specifically to catch the eye of birds and animals, creatures that eat the berry, travel to new ground, and deposit the seed somewhere fresh. Peel back all that dark color and the flesh underneath is almost entirely white. The pigment, and nearly everything nutritionally remarkable about the berry, lives in the skin. Human cultivation scaled blueberries across North America and eventually into South America, which is what launched the fruit into global trade. Today they turn up in smoothies, breakfast cereals, muffins, pancakes, and scattered across acai bowls in cafes around the world, though most people eating them have no idea they are consuming what is essentially a sophisticated seed dispersal mechanism. Avocado, the fruit that nobody could quite figure out. Avocado spent decades being misunderstood, and the misunderstanding kept changing shape. Botanically, it is a large fruit, not a vegetable, but grocery stores and home cooks treated it like a vegetable for years without much debate or apparent concern. Then it became a diet food, promoted and avoided in roughly equal measure because of its fat content. Then it flipped into a cultural object, something to be photographed and discussed rather than simply eaten. The actual origin stretches back thousands of years across Central and South America, where avocado was part of everyday cooking long before it had any kind of global reputation to manage. California farming operations in the early 1900s pushed it into mainstream American kitchens, and from there the spread was gradual and then suddenly everywhere at once. Cut one open and the pale green flesh begins turning brown within minutes, not because something has gone wrong, but because natural compounds inside the fruit react the instant the skin is broken and oxygen reaches the interior. That reaction is a signal of ripeness, not damage. The avocado is now one of the most talked about foods of the last 2 decades, appearing on toast, folded into guacamole, layered into sushi rolls, and sliced across salads on every continent. Wild salmon. You are what you eat, literally. Wild salmon gets its color entirely from what it eats, and that single fact changes how people see the fish. The orange-pink running through a fresh fillet comes from pigments found in the small crustaceans and algae that wild salmon feed on throughout their lives in open water. Farmed salmon raised in controlled enclosures on processed feed is naturally gray. The familiar orange color consumers expect in farmed fish is introduced through additives mixed deliberately into their food. Large-scale fish farming operations in Norway and Chile made salmon affordable and widely available from the 1980s onward, expanding access to a fish that had previously been the exclusive catch of cold northern rivers and oceans. The fish themselves are remarkable navigators, traveling sometimes hundreds of miles upstream against strong river currents to return to the exact tributary where they first hatched. Today, salmon ranks among the most consumed fish on the planet, appearing in sushi restaurants, smoked and laid across boards at gatherings, and grilled as a weeknight dinner staple across dozens of countries. Turmeric. 4,000 years before the golden lot. Turmeric has been around for at least 4,000 years, and for the vast majority of that time, food was almost a secondary consideration. Records from the Indian subcontinent show it was first valued as a textile dye and used extensively in traditional plant medicine long before the Western wellness industry paid it any attention. It traveled along ancient spice trade routes into the Middle East, across Africa, and eventually into Europe and the Americas through centuries of commerce and migration. The root itself resembles a smaller, more intensely colored relative of ginger, compact and knobby, and it stains every surface it contacts a vivid yellow-orange, including hands, wooden cutting boards, cloth, and ceramic without exception. Today, turmeric is an ingredient in curry powder blends, the defining flavor of golden lattes, and a core component of supplement capsules sold in health stores worldwide, completing a journey from ancient dye plant to modern wellness staple in what feels, historically speaking, like almost no time at all. Quinoa. The seed pretending to be a grain. Quinoa is not a grain, and that single distinction explains almost everything unusual about it. It is the seed of a flowering plant closely related to beets and spinach. which is precisely why it contains a complete set of amino acids that most true cereal grains simply do not provide. Records consistently point to the Andes region of South America as its origin, where quinoa served as a foundational staple crop for thousands of years, and some historical accounts describe it as holding sacred significance in certain communities. The crop stayed largely within its home region until the 1990s and into the 2000s, when growing export demand from North America and Europe pulled it into international markets at a pace that surprised even the farmers producing it. Cook a batch and something visually specific happens near the end. The tiny pale germ of each seed separates and curls outward into a visible ring around the outside, like a small halo forming around every grain. That curling ring is the clearest signal that the cook is complete. Today, quinoa fills grain bowls, anchors protein-forward salads, and sits in the pantry of nearly every health food store on the planet. Goji berries. Ancient ingredient, modern marketing. Goji berries had already built a deep and specific reputation long before Western markets repackaged them and gave them a new one. Traditional East Asian plant medicine incorporated goji berries for well over 1,000 years, treating them as a familiar and unremarkable everyday ingredient within the regions where they grew naturally. Many sources point to China and the broader Himalayan region as the origin, with centuries of documented use in both food preparation and herbal medicine. The fresh berry is fragile enough that it rarely survives long-distance transport, so it is almost always dried close to where it is harvested, and the dried version is what the rest of the world knows. That shrunken, chewy, red-orange dried berry entered Western markets in the early 2000s, frequently marketed and priced as though it were a newly uncovered secret that civilization had somehow overlooked. Today, goji berries fill trail mix bags, get pressed into energy bars, and appear in superfood blend pouches sitting in bulk bins in stores around the world. Spirulina. Older than plants themselves. Spirulina is not a plant, and calling it one would miss the point by approximately 3 billion years. It is a type of photosynthetic bacteria, an organism that converts light into energy using a process similar to what plants do, but it existed and operated this way long before plants evolved to do the same thing. Spirulina grows wild in warm, highly alkaline lakes scattered across Africa, Central America, and parts of Asia, environments where most other organisms cannot survive. Space agencies began studying it seriously in the mid-20th century as a potential compact food source for long-duration missions, and broader commercial farming developed as interest from the food and supplement industries grew. Under a microscope, each individual organism forms a tight, precise spiral, which is the direct source of the name, and a single gram of dried spirulina contains billions of those individually coiled structures. Today it dissolves into green smoothies, gets compressed into protein powder blends and pressed tablets, and turns up as a natural blue-green coloring agent in certain packaged snacks and frozen desserts. Chia seeds. Ordinary until you add water. Chia seeds sitting dry in a bag look like they could not possibly do anything interesting. Add water and the situation changes almost immediately. These small seeds are capable of absorbing roughly 10 times their own weight in liquid within just a few minutes, swelling and forming a thick translucent gel that has no close equivalent among other common foods. The outer surface of each seed is covered in microscopic fibers that pull water inward and lock it in place, the same mechanism that allows the seed to remain viable in extremely dry soil in its native habitat. Records point to Mexico and Central America as the origin, where chia was a significant cultivated crop for pre-Columbian civilizations across the region. Spanish colonization disrupted those agricultural traditions, and chia nearly vanished from wider cultivation before returning through dedicated research and renewed export interest in the late 20th century. Today, chia thickens puddings, transforms overnight oats, adds body to smoothies, and has become a standard ingredient across plant-based cooking worldwide.